Welcome you all to the course on Gender Studies. This is the 10th episode in the series. Let me tell you the three objectives that I have framed for this episode on Kishwar Naheed's poem I Am Not That Woman. The first objective is to appreciate the translated works in English. The second objective is to impart them the real value of women in the Eastern and Western society. The third objective is to enlighten them about the commodification of women in media and other spheres of life. Let me say something about the poet. Kishwar Naheed is a feminist Urdu poet and a writer from Pakistan. She is a living writer born in 1940 in Uttar Pradesh. She is known for her bold, radical views for highlighting the issues of women. This poem is one such display on her feminist perspective. So let us get into the poem, I Am Not That Woman. So the title itself conveys, she is not that woman. That woman stands for the conventional woman. She is not a conventional woman, she thinks herself as an unconventional one. She is not a stereotypical woman as society expects her to be. So let us get into the poem. I am not that woman selling you socks and shoes. Remember me, I am the one you hide in your walls of stone while you roamed free as the breeze, not knowing that my voice cannot be smothered by stones. So this is the first stanza in which she conveys that I am not that woman, the woman that you expect me to be. It may be addressing a men or society in general, but it is written in first person, I am. So therefore, we can take the poet as the narrator. So she is considered to be a social activist, and she has done many productive works and rendered some helpful and useful social services, particularly for women folks in the villages. So I am not that woman selling you socks and shoes. Conveys, I am not a sexual object to sell your socks and shoes. It may denote that I am not the woman that usually come in advertisement who promote the sales using her sex. So I am not ready to do all such rubbish things. So selling you socks and shoes is not my work. I am not born to do so. So remember me, I am the one you hide in your walls of stone while you roamed free as the breeze. So she says, try to remember me. I am the one you hide in your walls of stone. In your walls of stone in the sense arrested or restricted or women's role or limited. It seems she says, remember me, since the person must have forgotten her. So the patriarchy or male society has totally forgotten women. What is the role of women? Totally it has forgotten. That's why the advertisement or any media uses women here in this poem, selling you socks and shoes. I'm not meant to do so, but the purpose of women is forgotten. The very purpose of women is being forgotten. Therefore she says, remember me, I am the one you hide in your walls of stone. So you have suffocated or stuffed me in the four walls of yours. In fact, to say, the patriarchy has confined women to the domestic sphere. So the walls of stone may connote to domestic sphere. While you roamed free as the breeze. She uses a personification as well as a simile. Free as the breeze. So men have become breeze here. So breeze, she has not mentioned air or gust or any other words that can be used for denoting the wind or air. Here she uses breeze, something special, something unique, or the enjoyable phenomena. So while you roamed free as the breeze, free stands for the freedom that is given to the male, or patriarchy is not enjoyed by me. You have hid me in your walls of stone, not knowing that my voice cannot be smothered by stones. But she takes an ironic stand, a bold stand. Though you suppress me, I will come out. Though you control me, my voice will be heard. So not knowing that my voice cannot be smothered. Smothered stands for the chained or suffocated by stones. So in spite of the patriarchy, I will spring up. I will come up. I will emerge as a new woman. So here, again we will recollect the first line, I am not that woman that you think of, that you probably make or serve for your purpose. So I am not the one to commercially serve you, selling your shoes and socks. I am not the one to be confined in the domestic sphere as your wife. I'm not the one whose voice cannot be arrested in the four walls, or you cannot make me suffocated through arresting me or putting me in the cell. So let us move on to the next stanza. I'm the one you crushed with the weight of custom and tradition, not knowing that light cannot be hidden in darkness. So here another image. The woman is, particularly the poet, is seen as a light. And the patriarchy, the society, male-dominated society, has attempted to hide her in the darkness. So light cannot be hidden in the darkness. What a paradoxical line. So, she is the woman, she is not the woman who can succumb to the custom and tradition. So the weight of custom and tradition says the conventions of the society cannot control her because she is the light. Remember me, I am the one in whose lap you picked flowers and planted thorns and embers, not knowing that chains cannot smother my fragrance. See, another image she uses. She is a flower. I am the one in whose lap you picked flowers. So she has a number of flowers in her lap, and the men might have planted thorns and embers, not knowing that chains cannot smother my fragrance. So, I'm the one in whose lap you picked flowers and planted thorns and embers. So the tortures, sufferings, pains are recollected through the words thorns and embers. So, female life is often deemed to be chained, but she says, I am not controlled with your chains. You cannot simply smother my fragrance. So, flowers which will be crushed will not lose its fragrance, isn't it? Therefore, though you crush me, I will spreading my sweet fragrance. I won't be troubled. I won't take it seriously. She again uses the word remember me because the male society has forgotten that she is not that woman. I am the woman, third stanza, I am the woman whom you bought and sold in the name of my own chastity. So here she connotes to marriage, which is considered to be a commercial activity where women are sold and bought. Sold by parents, bought by a new man, a strange man. So in the name of my chastity, parents feel free that the girl is safe. Her chastity is preserved because she has been given to a fellow who will take care of her. Not knowing that I can walk on water when I am drowning. She thinks that the life of marriage seems to be drowning. In spite of it, she can walk on water. It's something strange and paradoxical. How can she walk on water while she is drowning? It says that she will see life as possible even in the impossible circumstances. I will try to make it possible, even though everybody thinks it is impossible. Now, let us move on to the next stanza. I am the one you married off to get rid of a burden, not knowing that a nation of captive minds cannot be free. So, here is a message to the father or mother. I am the one you married off to get rid of a burden. So, father and mother, parents consider, particularly in Eastern countries, that marriage is a woman is a burden. Therefore, she must go to the other house where she can be happy. So, not knowing that a nation of captive minds cannot be free, so she blames that the captive minds of the parents will cause the nation to fall. The nation cannot get freedom until the captive minds get corrected themselves. I am the commodity you traded in, my chastity, my motherhood, my loyalty. So here she deliberately and openly proclaims, I am the commodity you traded in. So she has merely become a commodity, a kind of product. My chastity, my motherhood, my loyalty. So these are the terms which these are the claims which make her as a commodity. She is married in the name of chastity. She is troubled in the name of motherhood. She is often tortured since she must prove her loyalty to her husband. Now it is time for me to flower free. She says, I just want to get myself free. The woman on the poster, half naked, selling socks, shoes. No, I am not that woman. Don't think that I will expose myself as half naked, just like the woman which the poster pictures, selling socks and shoes. So I am not the one to do all the commercial nonsense or rubbish. No, I am not that woman that you imagine of or you think of. as you treat me to be, as you deem me to be. So with this note she ends the poem. Now let us see some analysis of the poem. It shows the poem is about the empowerment of women from the slavery, from the commercial value, from the commodification of women. She is emerging in spite of lot of struggle, lot of slavery. So she has both pictured the Eastern and Western culture. She merely confesses that women are anywhere being oppressed, but they deserve to be respected. I am not the women as a poem contrast both explicit and discrete ways in which women are oppressed in society. Through a partially feminist lens, Naheed makes the point that women deserve respect. They are not commodities at all. Particularly in large part of the East, women are oppressed explicitly by being locked behind doors, being told that they cannot become anything in life. They often hear the 4 words, do what I say. So they cannot become anything in life. Of course, this cannot be generalized to every country and city, but many Eastern cultures do carry this mentality. This explicit oppression may be absent in the West, but Naheed also confesses that Western culture is also worth quoting here, because here the culture arrests the women and locks the women behind the doors. But in Western countries or Western cultures, the worthiness of women is tied to their bodies. So if it is the slavery through tradition of security, safeguarding or burden, etc., in the Western culture it is seen as sexism. So the beauty of women is more often than not used in advertisement. So beauty is a great commodity to sell the products. In fact, selling sex is the prime motive of many of the advertisements that hold women. They are not only promoting the products but also corrupting the men's mind. So Naheed makes a very valid point that this too is a form of oppression. Why women alone should be used for promoting the commercial aspects. And another thing is, women's value or self-worth is often tied to her body. It's a kind of oppression. Therefore, she empowers from these kind of oppressions. She expects some kind of respect to be given to women. Women should appreciate and confidently respect themselves. Then how can one overcome this oppression? It is in the thought of women. She should respect her body and find it holy and not to be used for a cheap purpose of selling shoes and socks of men. So the commodification is not alone the realm of men. It is the approval of women which makes men to do such things. Therefore, women must find their self-worth and the importance and values are not merely tied to their bodies. So she looks at both Western culture and Eastern culture, where the Western culture finds it a kind of sexism. The Eastern culture, women is treated as a burden. She is not that woman who accept to be seen selling socks and shoes. She refuses to be seen as that woman who sells socks and shoes, particularly referring to model or actress. So they used to dress in lucrative clothing in order to promote a commercial product. So displaying body, especially for women, has become a means of earning awe and praise from everyone around us. So this scenario must change. Nearly every girl in the West, if not in the world, is bent on perfecting her outward appearance. In recent times, it has become so high that outward appearance matters. Nobody believes that appearance is deceptive. Everybody thinks that appearance matters. So the due preference is given to outward appearance, either for a commercial purpose or to merely show off. So Naheed targets this point and tries to bring to light that forcing a woman to believe that her self-worth is immediately linked to her body is a strong form of oppression. So who makes the woman to think that her self-worth is tied to her body? It is obviously men, the male-dominated society. But in spite of it, women should also focus that the illusion is not true. So she moves on to discuss the equally, if not more disgusting oppression that occurs in the East. Because the sexism is somewhat disgusting, as our culture allows. We cannot simply imagine that the body is used for merely selling socks and shoes. But even in the Eastern culture, the oppression is there, but it is in different form. Men lock the women in indoors and forbid them from leaving the house. Women walking outside alone is considered immodest and disgraceful. So, locking indoors is a sign of modesty, or keep oneself indoors, it's considered to be the sign of loyalty to parents and modesty. The women who go out and serve, say for example, career women are going out and do something and even come late to the houses. They are considered to be immodest and disgraceful to the family. So women are locked indoors. It's because women are considered inferior and a burden. So chastity matters a lot. So the value is placed on chastity, and chastity is expected to be preserved all through the life of a woman. Therefore, the parents find it difficult to preserve the chastity of women after she has attained a considerable age. Therefore, she is being placed to another man. So the parents too consider women at a particular age as burden. So women are entirely objectified and at extremes are not even seen as humans anymore, merely modes of receiving pleasures and satisfaction as far as the media is concerned. So Naheed takes an empowering approach and likens womankind to light in the darkness. Every time she says that I am not the woman that you imagine me to be. So she is the light in the darkness. Often most of the women prefer darkness instead of light. See, She tried to replace her flowers of hope and aspiration with thorns and chains of contempt and oppression. They will not succeed in silencing her mind. So she is not that woman that can be fooled. So I am not the one to be fooled like others. In the second stanza, Nasheed uses a metaphor, light. So womankind as light. She uses another image, flowers, that were in her lap, and the restrictions and harsh words addressed to her as embers and chains. Third and fourth stanza conveys, referring to a woman who was literally sold into slavery. So it is closer examination of an Eastern culture which can allow us to conclude that Naheed is referring to forced marriages. So forced marriages are treated to be a slavery. In Eastern cultures, daughters and women are considered to be a burden because they do not have many job opportunities and are therefore entirely reliant and dependent on their caregivers for most. Once they are married off by her parents are expected to give the groom a very large dowry, and many times dollars and furniture and clothes. It is for this reason that women are considered a burden in the Eastern culture. So it is almost vehemently stating that they trade off women. So women is treated as a commodity to trade off. Mere selling and buying. Merely the product to be sold and to be bought. She can walk on water while she is drowning is beautiful imagery to describe that she refuses to give up even in seemingly impossible situations. She attempts to make the impossible situation as possible. She refuses to drown in their doubts and claims about her capabilities. In fact, to say, the society of men has underestimated the poet. She is beyond or a new woman who transcends all their cheap mentality, or they may be trying to chain her mind down, but it is in fact their own minds that are chained. So, on the whole, I'm Not That Woman is a liberating poem. It almost urges women from all culture to respect themselves and not allow themselves to be oppressed in any form. It's a clarion call for every woman to emerge from the slavery, from being merely commodity, from being merely a product of men, and to show their individuality instead of simply abiding the chains of custom and tradition. On the whole, she expects an unconventional woman in the conventional society. So she instills the ideology that women are mothers, they are light in the darkness, that they are so much more than the bodies that they are in. So merely taking the body as a sign which conforms the womanhood must change. This ideology is very cheap and poor ideology of the patriarchy, and which must find some transformation. So Naheed reminds us to focus on what is inside of us, and even in our superficial society. Remind women to respect their bodies and who they are merely as people, human beings, instead of becoming one of that woman. As she says, I am not that woman. So with this note, I wind up this session. Here we can find that gender ideology and here how media pictures the stereotypes. Gender stereotypes is strongly suggested in the poem, and also some of the culture that Eastern society practice and Western culture which focuses on the values of women that can be tied to their bodies. So some revealing ideas about Eastern and Western culture pictured in the poem. Thank you so much.